So we are in Chef Kevin's recording studio. We take Friday the 13th very, very seriously, and we are having...
It's a national holiday in Valverde. The country is shut down.
Basically, everyone smokes their house out of any bad omens or
traditionally, you have a
juju.
little wood-burning stove. You fill it with sage, cannabis, eucalyptus, and it just gets the whole house feeling
So our
fresh.
headquarters is being saged pretty thoroughly.
We left Captain Podcast in charge. Ideally, we gave him...
Left them in charge. I mean,
we had no choice. Yeah.
He took charge.
He kind of told us he doesn't...
He kind of kicked us out. I mean, we're going to figure out what the new code is eventually.
Captain Podcast, of course, a chimpanzee that we brought in as a mascot, but is now...
Didn't realize he had cybernetic enhancements from previous experiments that allows him to kind of like do more than an average chimp. Arguably more than most
We're a movie
humans.
podcast.
Yeah.
And this is just typical podcast stuff.
Right.
If you're just listening for the first time, that's a little background on where we record. It's an undisclosed location in South America. But for today, for this special Friday the 13th episode, we are coming at you from our producer, engineer extraordinaire, Kevin's Radio Shack.
He is. He does have the rights to that name.
He bought.
He had to sue Shaquille O'Neal.
It also is...
He had to sue Cuba Gooding Jr. and Shaquille O'Neal to get the name Radio Shack.
In a joint suit.
Welcome to Action Boys.
Part 8. Jason takes Manhattan. Now, New York has a new problem.
Jason.
When the fuck did he start doing that?
I did not like that.
I did not.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not like that. Meaning the whole movie we watched for this episode. My bad.
So this is
we
notorious.
just said last week that 3,000 Miles to Graceland is the worst movie we ever watched. Still is.
Still is.
This
is bad.
But this chased it.
But you know what? I knew going into it with this one that this one was bad. This is notoriously people's least favorite Friday the 13th.
I agree with people for once.
But I do think it's at least very funny in how shitty it is.
And this one has been whatever story points this one introduced has been ignored, right?
They wiped
removed
this one
from
out of canon completely. I will say there've been some the ones following this were not great. I thought Jason X was pretty fun.
Is that the space one?
That's the space one.
That one is enjoyable.
And it is hilarious where it's like, all right, where else can we take him? The big city. Let's take him to hell. Let's take him to space. And then let's do a wrestling crossover one. And Freddy versus Jason was bad.
Mm-hmm.
But this was the first hint of Jason having some good intentions when he keeps the main character from getting raped. This movie is fucking crazy. And it's crazy in both production choices, the storyline. I mean, have you guys seen this?
I had never seen this one before.
So this is Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. First the Muppets took it, now Jason takes it. Who's going to take it next? The Action Boys.
No, I'm just- this movie posits that New York City is like
New York is a web of back alleys and sewers.
it's all toxic sludge and criminals.
There's so much toxic sludge in this movie. You will be shocked. It was filmed in New York for 5 minutes. They got a shot of Jason in Times Square. That is the highlight of the movie. The rest was filmed in Vancouver. It couldn't be more. It couldn't be more of a Vancouver film.
Oh, down to the day players and extras.
Oh my God!
You folks seem like you're a nice group of people. I guess I'll believe everything that you have to say.
It's like a New York cop.
It's on the radio, ain't he?
That is a bit of a tall tale.
Yeah.
So what is that actually?
Guess I'm supposed to believe everything that you're saying about.
Sorry about that.
New York cops are Irish and Canadian.
Sorry about that, Jason.
I will
That
say
Jason sounds like a real hoser.
my main complaint with the movie is that I think the people who made it had never been on a field trip or a boat or in high school.
Dude, this fucking boat? What is
every conceit
this
that you're
cruise?
all the stuff that's supposed to be Jason is happening on this thing. Everything that's happening, you need to have that base be normal in some way. This cruise is fucking crazy.
How fucking bummed as a graduating high school senior would you be if your graduation celebration cruise was on this fucking boat?
From somehow it connects from Crystal Lake
Well,
to the
yeah.
East
That's
River
fucking
to the
crazy.
Atlantic Ocean.
That's crazy. It's this huge boat that's in Crystal Lake. This movie changes the lore completely. Where I guess Crystal Lake is a huge tributary into the Atlantic. It's
Yeah, it's
like,
like
in like
it's
upstate.
right. It's Huron, Erie, Crystal.
Yeah, it's like one of the Great Lakes that's like hooked into the Erie Canal, and you can go down.
It's got 3 locks.
It shouldn't be
Yeah.
lake, it should be Crystal Estuary.
Yeah, it's like the Crystal Delta.
It's like what, there's different.
Okay, so I do think if they would have actually shot with if it was like Muppets Take Manhattan, where you shoot the whole thing in New York and Jason is going around trying to kill these kids, I bet you it would have been a classic.
What a fake dummy going off a green screened Empire State Building.
Yes.
Shit like that.
You get all the like New York characters actually reacting, but it does when they're in that diner and it feels like Twin Peaks and it's supposed to be
the diner
like,
and the subway car are supposed to be like what New York is like, and it's disgusting. It's embarrassing.
Well, the diner is so because like it's the director's sister and she's like, what'll it be, toots? It's like a 1940s like
Yeah.
waitress.
Oh, I guess I'll take some poutine.
Like,
I know that New York's famous for it.
there's a psycho chasing us. Welcome to New York City. It's like, shut the. I fucking hate.
Well, I liked all that shitty stuff that they tried to do about New York. And having a little bit of sympathy for the director, he's super bummed about this movie not working. They kept slashing the budget. They ultimately arrived at $5 million. And this guy was like, yes, I get why people make fun of it. And his dream was to do a Manhattan, like you said.
Yeah, I know, but like
I don't think.
yeah,
okay.
it's when you write and direct the movie. It's really hard to make the argument that like you got fucked over. I'm sure the budgetary problems and they were like, we're not filming in New York.
Right.
I think that's when you go like, maybe I got to start over again with the script.
Maybe we lose the Manhattan element.
Cruising
Yes.
with Jason.
Yes.
Not even
He's
cruising.
undercover gay guy. He's got a yellow hockey mask in his back pocket. He's in the piss play.
It was hockey night at the mine shaft. I met a young camper named Jason Voorhees.
This is William Friedkin, famous director of The Exorcist, who also
And Cruising.
And Cruising. And so what was his version of Jason Cruising be? Would Jason be the Al Pacino character in Cruising, or would Al Pacino be trying to get close to Jason?
And
trying
then
to
it
get close
turned
to
out
Jason,
he
yeah.
would be Jason the whole time.
Yeah, he'd look in the mirror.
All the shit about like the film, this does show the power of film. And whenever you see a shitty movie from the 80s, you're always like, well, looks actually kind of, some of this looks good.
It looks rich and textured at times. The movie's not shot well, and it doesn't have nothing interesting happens on camera.
Like,
and I'm still like,
why does this look so good?
well, cool.
It sucks that like the trash, this is like what our future is going to look like, where we're going through dumps and we're finding like dog poop bags and be like, what is this product? This plastic bag is incredible.
We're going to be so happy to find old plastic.
Yeah.
Like, oh, thank God, plastic is the best. Remember plastic?
I relate
have it
to
in my testicles.
To Wall-E.
So
you like to really enunciate his name.
It's got an E at the end, babe.
Here's what's unforgivable about Friday the 13th Part 8. Jason takes his mask off and we see his face, and it completely ruins the entire movie. It ruins the entire movie. It kind of ruins some of the other movies. He needs a mask on. Unless it's the kid reaching out of the lake. If it's that, that's fine.
I love the gag that he lifts his mask and we don't see it.
Yes,
and it breaks people out. That's the best part of the movie.
Yes, and it's shot in New York.
Right. It's the part in Manhattan, and it's the best part of the movie. Again, it has one of my favorite tropes, the all-white punk gangs of New York.
Yes, I think it's a little bit more ethnically ambiguous, that one.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But
yes, having us not see his face is crucial.
Later they show his face, and he looks like a bad jack-o'-lantern.
It looks like Toxic Avenger, but worse.
Yes.
I'll put it this way. If for anybody that's been to Universal Horror Nights or whatever, if you saw that in one of the mazes, you'd be bummed out.
You'd ask
That's
for a
how
refund.
fucking shitty it looks. It adds so much like circumference to his head because it's the actor with a face on, and it's not even a prosthetic. It looks like a rubber mask this actor put on to be the face.
It is crazy that these were the franchises of the 80s. These were the big, huge.
We're talking about a Part 8.
In 1989. This is Part 8. Part 1 came out in like 1981. So it's like they're cranking one of these out annually. This is a yearly event. They made so many of these movies. The first Friday the 13th, I think, is a great movie. I love that movie. Awesome. I think the twist is great. Obviously, everybody knows it by now, but it's another one of these movies that looks beautiful. It's a low-budget movie. You got Kevin Bacon in it in a small role. It's got a lot of really fun deaths. It does have a mystery element of you don't know this predates Jason. There's no Jason in the movie. Mm-hmm. You just know someone is killing all the campers, and there's a lot of a lot of red herrings. And then Part 2, Jason is now a full-grown man. It's a fun twist on the first one.
It's Jason's mom.
It's Jason's mom. It's Mrs. Voorhees in one, as we all know from Scream, famously. And there's a jump scare at the end where the kid who was drowned that causes Mrs. Voorhees to seek revenge in the beginning jumps up. Part 2 is a fun twist because it's like, well, what if Jason was actually alive and he was older now and he wanted revenge? And that one's pretty good, but he's just got a pillowcase on his head the whole time.
Right.
And I think they maybe show his face. You kind of see like pieces of it, but he's still a living guy. Then he gets the hockey mask in Part 3. Then he becomes more of a supernatural force. At one point, electricity seems to take and give his life.
Yeah.
They tried to make a twist where people like almost caught the spirit of Jason. Like they tried to like get away from
because my friend was like, is Jason Takes Manhattan the one where they breathe Jason's entity into each other's mouths? And I was like, no.
I think that's
I was like, I don't know what I don't know. I don't think I've seen that
one.
one.
Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Gabrus, you like to enjoy marijuana cigarettes.
Yeah.
Would you smoke Jason's entity?
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Take a big old fucking binger Hercules hit of that fucking shit.
Now, so when we get into the supernatural component, which one does Jason whack the sleeping bag against the tree?
I don't remember.
That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite
deaths.
The hedge clippers into the guy's eyes into the tree. I think that's 2 is a good one. And then Jason dies once from a boat propeller to the head, which is maybe one of my favorite Jason kills too. And I think that's 2 or 3.
I like the opening of a lot of these bad sequels. Like I feel like it's maybe 4 or 5. The Jason franchise is Friday the 13th franchise is also great because I think they have a couple like starts and stops where it's like the final chapter and then they do like 10 more episodes.
Wait, there's one more page. wait, actually,
it's actually not the final record.
Right, we actually found this extra Jason, the Dead Sea Scrolls of Jason.
Right. Mission Impossible,
the final reckoning of Jason.
Yeah.
It's funny that we had Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street running at the same time, but colloquially it was just Jason and Freddy. You know what I mean? It was like just 2 guys' first names. It's like, are you a Jason or a Freddy guy? And
then it's crazy that Halloween kind of nobody taught, like Michael Myers was such a normal name that like nobody was like.
Halloween
did stay Halloween,
Better name though, too. Like,
yes.
Yeah, like Friday the 13th is cool because.
Friday the 13th clearly influenced from Halloween.
Right.
Like, this is also a spooky day. There's other spooky days other than Halloween.
Well, it's one of those, like, unbeknownst to them, they might just, I'm sure everyone's residuals pop up a little bit after Friday the 13th.
100%.
Yeah.
What if the creator of Wayne's World was named Jason Voorhees? Would that differentiate it from Friday the 13th? Would it
call it Jason's World? Wait, what are you asking?
No, I'm just
You're saying
saying
if Mike Myers' name was Jason Voorhees, the SNL alumni.
Yeah.
Sorry. I did not put
I don't usually think of him as the creator of Wayne's
That's what
World.
confused me. I'm like, who created it? Was it technically Lorne Michaels? I'm like, was it Penelope Spears?
No, that was like I think that was a sketch he came in there with. But yeah, because I'm just thinking if that like kind of
could be
created some distance between. I don't know. I mean,
let's talk about the movie. We had great late 80s Paramount Sunset Gulf Western.
Happy to see it.
Always happy to see it. Hilarious cold open of some of these latter Friday the 13th movies.
On this show, real quick, we do pay close attention to the title cards and
we talk about it like we talk about like other men talk about cars.
Yeah.
So they don't make it like they used to. We talk about like Chevrolet.
What year studios changed their logos?
In 81, they dropped the Lion's real roar.
Yeah. Who owned it at the time? What the subheading is? If it's like .com or some shit, they started throwing that in there. I do like to keep track of this shit for no reason.
No. And getting into the weeds on whether it's a winged horse, whether it actually is Pegasus. There's all kinds of shit that we do.
It is not Pegasus, but what the
Pegasus
species
is a winged horse.
That's right.
And yes, we learned this the hard way. Even though a lot of other literature will use Pegasi or Pegasus as like a...
That is not... Pegasus is one of a race of winged horses.
But this one... From the texts you're working with.
That's right.
Okay, I'm just saying.
But this horse that they use in the TriStar logo could be
Pegasus.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, never gotten to the bottom of that.
If you do know, reach... We have an hour and a half long interview with like 100-year-old guy explaining it.
We could get Robert Redford's character from The Horse Whisperer to get to the bottom of it.
I can't hear anything the guy's fucking saying.
Yeah, speak up, man. I'm not a horse.
Speak up, babe. I've got these fucking AirPods.
I'm a human.
I've got AirPods. Stop whispering, man. I'm trying to listen to a podcast. Action Boys at actionboyz.biz.
Okay, so you're talking about the way that these cold opens start in the sequels.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
No, I gave up on that.
Well, that's a natural segue back to talking about the cold open in this movie.
Well, we get a kind of New York collage, even though there is almost no New York in it. We get a great shot at. We open on the Twin Towers.
Yes.
R.I.P. At least
Jason takes
inside job.
Jason takes control of the plane. I don't know. A little insensitive.
Jason's in a fireman's uniform, taking photos with kids and shit.
Jason crawled out of the rubble next to
Ranazizi,
Nick Cage.
Ranazizi, Rob Pattinson.
Ranazizi just escaped Jason and
Jason gives him the hockey mask. Why don't you wear this, kid?
Jason takes the league.
I used to play with Jason before I got my job at Saks.
I love wanting to have a boat location to justify that Jason's at the bottom of Crystal Lake still forces them to have kids fucking on a boat.
This makes no sense. We meet these two. So we start on Manhattan. We get to see fake Manhattan. All these shots of Vancouver.
Anyone feel stressed for that wet rat?
We do I feel stressed for the wet rat. I feel stressed for the dog. Get the dog out of this fucking movie. There's no need to have this dog. So we hint at some toxic sludge when some muggers steal a guy's wallet. A businessman walking down a fucking decrepit alley. They mug him, take his cash out, throw the wallet in a vat of toxic sludge that then a wet rat pops out of. We're in New York, baby.
The rat, I know a lot of people are asking, does not turn into Splinter.
Does not know any martial arts. I guess he didn't have like a master who trained him.
He didn't live in a dojo.
Got to live in a dojo. That's how Splinter learned.
I made it funny.
And we're hearing the local radio. And then we transition from the radio that's played in the city to to two kids having a romantic evening, two seniors in high school having a romantic evening on like a houseboat. And the DJ says, like, this is WKBZ, the light of Manhattan. And this goes out to all the seniors at Crystal Lake High, Lakeview High, at Crystal Lake, coming to Manhattan on their senior trip.
Fast
Just
and loose.
remember.
The geography, don't worry about it.
And the kids go, that's us.
Right. And she's getting her fucking top off and shit. He's like making out with her up against the wall and shit.
He's like, it's a city of light, but just remember, it casts shadows, so be careful. Trying to make it a little bit spooky, and then he takes her top off.
Yeah.
And then I got spooked out.
It's also like it doesn't feel like young sex and romance. They feel like a married couple that is still doing pretty well. So they're putting like sweatshirts on and clothes and under the covers.
The houseboat really makes it like a detail, like, wait, it's the night before you go on a cruise and you're hanging out in a boat. Like,
well, it's
and then also you don't make the cruise and no one, like, they're probably fucking on a boat somewhere.
So he goes to throw the anchor out, and he tosses the anchor.
A thing that also makes no sense.
Yes.
They're not moving, they're on a lake.
Before we fuck, I better go toss the anchor. And the anchor we see hit, and it's like, a studio pool, and it's near a, like, high voltage cable running across the base of the lake.
A black cable like the size of like a tunnel that says like 50,000 volts on it. It's like, wait, what does that need to go through Crystal Lake for?
And then the kid starts telling his girlfriend right before they're going to have sex. He says, I'm a little freaked out. This is where those kids got killed in that summer camp by that guy, Jason Voorhees.
Which one of the 7 times are you referring to, honey? Like, that's so funny. Like the lore of Crystal Lake, it's been 8 movies.
Let's say it's just the first one. 7 years ago, when everybody got fucking massacred at the lake.
That kid even drowned there 30 years ago. So there's like a lot of lore.
It's like 30 years ago, a kid drowned here. 7 years ago, a bunch of kids were killed by a mom. The next year, a bunch of kids were killed by the
guy.
It's Crystal Lake. Conceivably, the town is built around the lake. So it's all you got.
At this point, there aren't enough kids
left.
Yeah, they're all dead, which explains why there are only like 5 kids on this senior trip.
It could be disastrous for the movie.
So as he's telling this story, we happen to stumble upon where we last left Jason, dead at the bottom of the lake with his hand reaching out of some broken wood in a dock. So like it's his body just down there, and then of course the anchor hits the cord, which causes a lot of electrical charges, and as they're having sex, we see the light lighting up. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, that part looked fun, the flashing lights.
And then
outside.
Jason is slimy and revived, and he gets on the boat, and we have a jump scare of this kid scared. Like, Jason jumps down with the hockey mask on. No, it's just this kid playing a prank on his girlfriend, and she's freaked out, and he's like, I won't do it again. Takes the hockey mask off.
So he has this hockey mask on the boat. And he's like, I'm a little freaked out. This is where they were killed. It's like,
Well, I think he was setting her up.
right,
Yeah.
but why he brought the hockey mask specifically? He's like, this will be a funny prank.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or it's because it's not like, oh, I got it from the sporting goods closet of my houseboat.
It's
No,
Jason
their
style.
relationship must be very, very boring at this point. If
Right.
he's like, you know what, I'm gonna have sex. I want to scare the shit out of my girlfriend.
It is because they're clearly whoa, a little boozy tonight. They're slowing down. They're getting covers on, uncover stuff. Am I going to fucking do the scare job here with this fucking chick?
He's got her naked up against the wall and goes, hold on, I got to throw the anchor down. And then they get into bed like with more layers on.
But then it is interesting that Jason then does get aboard, finds the hockey mask when this guy takes it off and apologizes to his girlfriend. So the entire movie, he's wearing some kid's costume hockey mask.
And it looks like it.
Yeah.
To be fair, it doesn't look good.
They're not comfortable, the costume.
Grabs a spear gun. The kid also has a spear gun on this boat. What is this houseboat? Whose is it? Is it his dad's?
I like that Jason misses straight up.
Me too.
He's rusty.
He misses with the spear gun shot, but then
Then he just impales the kid with the spear gun.
with like the but this is the thing that drove me the most crazy about this film. I thought that the kills almost all sucked.
Well,
And-
there's one great one.
There's one really good one, but mostly they're bad.
I couldn't.
They're a little soft.
They're soft. They're weirdly geographic. Spend them. I had one kill I liked too. I wonder if it's all the same one.
It's the guy getting his head punched off.
Yes. Okay.
I have tons of thoughts on
I
that.
think that's that's all you can remember of this
Yes.
movie.
Oh yeah. I think the sauna death is also cool, and that's about but everything else is barely shown. And this is the first one. He kind of hits him with the back of the spear gun or something, and then the kid's like, oh, but they don't really show. Oh, I was like, movies older than this showed better graphic.
You know what? I don't even know if it's like a graphic thing. I think it's a lack of creativity.
It's not shot
Yeah.
well. It's not interesting. Like the guitar death, where there's some POV stuff that doesn't
It's a
work.
lot of Jason slashing something and then like a splash of blood.
Yes.
This
In the
movie-
wrong
This movie has jumped into parody. Like a lot of it is trying to be, but it is doing every cliche out there. And that's
Right.
when you know something is kind of done.
Right.
And that's why they sold the franchise. I mean, this didn't do well and Paramount sold it to New Line later. When New Line, of course, made Nightmare on Elm Street. So fucking 20 years too late, they were finally able to have Jason and Freddy meet, which was
Frodo.
which was our fantasy as kids.
Right, yeah. Jason versus Freddy is all you talked about. Who would actually win?
It was Arnold and Stallone in a
Yeah.
movie together. It was Freddy versus Jason, and then as you got a little bit older, it was De Niro and Pacino.
You got
And then
yeah.
now
And they all happened.
It's Keanu and Tom, which was posited by our friend Paul Scheer. But
You know what it is now? I bet is like
Superman and Wolverine or whatever. It's Marvel
sad.
DC.
I bet you it's like a more realistic one is probably like X-Men and Avengers.
But that's
type
cool.
shit.
like
Yeah.
Yes.
Wonder
But
Woman.
that's what it was for a while.
But
And-
that's a very similar situation where it's like two different studios own these two different properties that everybody wants to see together.
Yeah.
And now they both are owned, and much to the chagrin of anyone working in the entertainment industry, because now there's like less jobs,
Right.
Because like one whole studio got bought by another.
Wouldn't it be so funny if in the new Avengers, like Cyclops and Wolverine walk up to like Iron Man and Thor and they go to shake hands and then all their arms get cut off by a lightsaber and like Yoda's standing there? The crowd would be like,
I mean, they would have live footage in the theater.
And then Yoda rips his head off. He's like, "That's me, Mickey Mouse." Fuck you.
I think like you got to do
turns black and white and gets on a boat.
you got to do with real people. Like it would be Wonder Woman and Hillary Clinton or something.
Hey, Steamboat Willie.
Public domain. You could put him anywhere now.
That Steamboat Willie goes by the Lakeview High School cruise at one point.
Jason misses him. But in speaking to like these, you know, the lame kind of lazy slasher stuff, when Jason jumps down and or when the guy is playing Jason and jumps down, it's like, well, this guy can pull off a lame jump scare, and he pretty much abandons that the whole rest of the movie.
Yeah, there's not one more jump scare in the rest of the
The
movie.
fake jump scare
There's a
was the
couple
only
attempts.
Yeah,
There's a couple
when it
attempts
comes
and
out
he
of the
can't
mirror
pull it.
and shit.
Yeah. No, and also like the you know what? I don't think he can pull them off. Like, because I'm thinking now there's like about 4 or 5 attempts and they're all bad and you don't remember them because they are so bad.
Yes, I don't think he can either. I think just in this first one, when the guy is pretending he's Jason,
It's crazy that the biggest jump scare is like a high school kid in his underwear with a hockey mask.
and I don't think that's a good one or anything, but I'm like, in a bad version, he can kind of do it in this one shot. And then he fails the entire rest of the movie.
I mean, I am shocked at how often I've seen this movie. I think every year for a long time on cable, there was probably a Friday the 13th, and they would run a marathon of the Friday the 13th movies. It didn't feel like they had them all, but they had a bunch. And this one was so bad that I'm sure it's one of those things where these cable companies got it for cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad explained to me New York geography, like partly. I think it was because of Escape from New York. And like, I was like, wait, like, what is the difference between New York City and Manhattan? Like, you got to like talk me through it.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was laughing about now was how seriously I took all these movies of like, yeah, that's what you got to do when you run into Jason. Like this was an actual problem you could run into in your life.
Dude, I would have hour-long conversations with friends of like exactly like the strategy with engaging with almost any fantastical movie
You're both
situation.
like sweating,
Yeah,
like your
like,
ties
Like really
loosened.
taking it seriously of like, this is good stuff you need to know for your
Right,
life.
like
Okay, from the top.
and it's
Let's-
like, you really think that would work? It's like you never really see him go downstairs or upstairs fast, right? So you got to get late, you got to get floors up.
And you got to bring up his mom.
you got to pretend like you're his mom. And then
That's the
you're-
only way to stop him is psychological.
Yeah. Here, do me a favor. Put on this hockey mask. See if you can look down. See if you can look down with this hockey
This is also, this scene coming up is, I remember, I mean, we've all had this moment when you're a kid watching movies and being like, oh, this is bad. Oh, I get it. Like, this is bad. And I find it funny how bad it is.
Yeah.
When this teacher gives this girl, this student of hers, who's I guess like an orphan, like raised by
her uncle,
and maybe the entire staff
Community.
of the school.
Yeah. Dude, this is step one in this movie has too much things
And they
going
don't
on.
explain it.
No,
really.
nothing is
They
explained.
give an explanation, but it's not this at all.
This is just
Separate thing.
Chekhov's Stephen King's.
So this teacher drops her off at she drops her off at the cruise, but then is
But
also going
walks
on
up
the
with her. It
cruise
makes
with
no
her.
fucking sense.
and says like a goodbye to her.
Yes, and then she's
You think
going.
it's like her mom or her aunt or
Yes.
something? There's no orphan
No,
mentioned yet.
why are they saying goodbye? They're both taking this trip together. But like what they're teasing is that she has a massive fear of water. So this is a big deal that she's going on this trip. So it's a big moment. So she's proud of her for conquering her fears. This is what's supposed to be happening.
And she's also the best student in her
Yes.
English class.
And so she has given her a pen supposedly used by Stephen King in high school. And I want to be like, what year do you think Stephen King went to high school? Like the 19th century?
Yeah.
It's
like a fountain
It's a
pen.
fountain pen, yeah.
Stephen King, famously a typist.
Yeah, honey, I think you might have gotten sold a bill of goods on that.
How much did you pay for this on my teacher's salary?
I mortgaged my house to get this special pen.
I bought this and something called a mogwai
It's
down
so-
in Chinatown.
It's so fucking nuts. She's like almost saying a goodbye to her. And then she says to Toby the dog in the back, I think he's taking this harder than anybody. And it's like, he ends up going on the fucking
Yeah.
boat with her. Toby the dog, played by the animal performer Ace. We do always
When I
acknowledge.
saw the
beautiful,
credits, when I saw the
beautiful dog.
credits,
Yeah.
it said Toby Hayes. I was like, 1000% Stanger brings this up.
We
Beautiful
always
dog.
do. We
Yeah.
always try to help each
Yeah,
other
we're
on
using
who
we
they-
a lot there.
Beautiful dog, great border collie.
Yeah.
Good red bandana on him. Seems absolutely terrified to be in a movie
Should
the
not be
entire
in this
time.
movie.
No,
Yeah, it feels like the
doesn't
director's kid's dog or something.
makes zero sense why this
Doesn't
character
have a
has
plot
a dog.
point moment.
No, like escapes. It seems like a hassle to get the dog out of the movie for long stretches.
Right.
Yeah.
And then to get it back in. But no Deus ex machina where it does anything of any.
And the dog does show up in Times Square, right?
At the end.
Yeah.
Like at the end, it
So
just
they
goes,
brought-
oh, Toby. Like he's just sitting there.
Did they bring the dog to New York?
I guess
this,
or maybe that
This
was
is on
shot
the
like a set.
lifeboat.
Yeah.
I don't know. But also, fortunately, they make a big deal about her fear of swimming because it definitely is something she will not have to overcome at the end of the movie. At all.
No.
It is like why she's scared of swimming. We know that. but it's
I don't understand. There's like it really makes no sense.
The walk up to just to keep this scene going.
Yeah.
So this teacher says, "All right, good luck, goodbye. You and the dog will enjoy." They get up. She starts walking away, and the teacher just joins her. And you're like, "Oh my god!" The teacher. They go on the cruise, and then a guy we don't know who he is yet goes like, Jesus
My favorite
Christ.
character.
Yeah.
My favorite character, the principal, like
Who's
McCullough.
also
Uncle
the
Charlie.
Uncle Charlie
Uncle Charles.
McCullough, Principal McCullough.
Is that
who's-
his name?
Yeah,
Yeah.
who's also going on the cruise, is like, what the fuck are you doing? And is mad at this teacher. You think in this moment, I think they are the mother and father who are divorced. I have no idea.
I love this guy, how seriously he's taking it. And he's just like kind of supposed to be an asshole. There's a lot you can learn from these movies. I mean, it is all archetypes where it's like the prom queen who does coke, a girl who like is like a punk musician.
Yeah,
It does
the video guy.
the
is such a
video
good
guy,
one.
yeah.
The jock, the boxer, and then like the nerdy sailor's son. Captain.
yeah.
I don't even understand that you're like genetically a captain. Like it's like landed gentry.
This is the worst actor in the movie. Then we cut to
So she boards the boat.
She boards the boat. We get her uncle who raised her being like, she shouldn't be here. What are you doing with her?
he's fucking surprised that the woman, the daughter who is his ward, is showing up on the boat.
Remy, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
We can still turn around. There's still time.
And now he, as the principal, and I guess this English teacher that is looking out for Rennie, is they're the two faculty members that are, I guess, chaperoning an entire class of seniors on
But
this boat.
luckily, the entire class is 10 people.
Yeah, it's like 10 to 12 people.
And this is where we meet them. And one of them is, I guess, just the Admiral. Well, here you are, Admiral. And
They
it's
call
like,
him Admiral.
Yeah. Is it Admiral and a first mate or two other?
They eventually start
Admiral.
calling him Captain, but when they first introduce him, it is fucking Admiral.
Here's the Admiral. He's like, I'll let my son do it. And then they cut to just this short kind of male model looking guy.
Like the weirdest, like
He's real kind of like proto 90210.
he seems
but-
like he would play a high school kid into
Yeah.
his late 30s. Like
It
he
was
has like a growth deficiency.
he
or
seems
something.
like he's a small guy, but he's kind of classically handsome, but he's not a good actor. And they just gave him like kind of a doofus blonde buddy, who has like real stoner energy, wearing like a purple fleece.
and he just stands like kind of like next to him.
And he's like, I'll let my son do the honors, Captain. And the kid's like deer in headlights. He's like, all right, let's go. And he's like, didn't you forget something? You need to pull the horn.
and call down to the blah, blah, blah. And it's like, why are you letting it? And is this an insane coincidence that you are admiraling the ship that your son's high school? Or is the son?
I don't think the son's in high school anymore.
You don't think? Okay, because he seems too Captain. I can't.
I think he's like a year old. This is me doing work for the movie. I think he's a year older than the graduating class, and he's working up the boat.
Okay, that's possible.
That's my takeaway.
So the adults on the boat are the principal,
Yes.
the English teacher, the admiral, his first mate, and the maintenance
There's a
guy with a
deckhand.
screwdriver who you see twice.
the deckhand who the kid's houseboat like is kind of wanders up, and they're like, we're still waiting on Jim and Carrie. And it's like they're probably busy exploring each other instead of New York.
This kid that's the son of the Admiral, who's either a senior or a year ahead, working, his name is Sean. And he is very handsome and does have this weird kind of vacant look to him, to where you could tell they just kept smalling his roll down more and more.
And he has some real weird. The guy who plays the principal he died a couple years ago.
He's an actual actor.
He died.
He's maybe the only one.
He died a couple years ago at 93. He started working in TV in like the 40s.
Good run.
He is in everything, including the TV show Hotel.
Oh, okay. For anyone watching or listening to this for the first time will know that frequently our actors have guest starred in the TV series Hotel, a show none of us have ever watched.
We've never watched it.
It was a vehicle for James Brolin, and
He ran a hotel. It was a primetime drama, melodrama, and they had a very long rotating cast of guest actors. So if you were a working actor in the 80s, you were on Hotel.
Yeah, it was kind of like
I think it was only 4 seasons.
the 80s.
I think it might have been less.
Yeah.
It was like Hotel was to the 80s in LA, like Law and Order was to New York in the 90s.
Or even like maybe even Love Boat.
Right, Love Boat was
but
pretty.
it's a little heavier than Love Boat. But it was like everybody just worked through it, and it was an LA show. Oh, you said for New York.
Because Law and Order, you were mostly focused on the cops. I feel like there's like full long arcs of like this guy's like this just about this guy checking in, this businessman.
But yeah, so rest assured,
but
we will reference Hotel.
He seems like an actual actor,
Yes.
and he's taking it seriously, and he's playing this kind of like annoying evil principal, but
he's also the uncle.
He's also right about everything for the most part, but he's frequently a coward where he's like, I think we should split up. Like he's kind of making the wrong call.
He's driving the movie in the wrong direction.
Yes.
He's like, all right, I'll grope you a little bit, Tamara.
Let them drag her off. You heard them. They're going to kill her.
But as an actor, he has to create this persona to make sense of his
he's the
nonsensical
richest character on
lines.
He's
camera,
doing
yeah.
scenes with Sean, and Sean will, if his line is like, I'll have a Diet Pepsi, he'll read it like, I'll have a Diet Pepsi. And it's like, wait, why are you emphasizing like what? Like, and you can kind of see in your mind like them doing different takes and like him every time.
A Diet Pepsi.
Yes, yeah, like,
We're just do a run. Just do a run. And I'll just keep saying
and the one
line.
they picked, you're like, what is that?
It's the best, obviously. But it is nuts from a tone standpoint of this movie, because when the captain or the admiral lays into Sean for forgetting the horn or whatever, you thought for sure it was going to be something playful, like, you forgot one thing, the horn, and then they would have laughed. And Sean is fucking devastated by this and runs away.
Yeah,
and so
he's
you're
like hurt by it. Him and his friend who's holding they get this
The
cool
sextet and the
sextet.
computer. Sextet doesn't matter at all. You think like, well, the power will go out.
And
the
they'll have to go the old-fashioned way.
No,
No.
no, it doesn't happen.
No.
The computer actually does come in handy to find New York City.
Now
They find the Statue of Liberty.
it's a reveal to them, like they're shipwrecked and they finally see a lighthouse.
It's like a post-apocalyptic world that this is set in. That would make more sense if
and they're able to. They skip. They do a big jump there, but they're somehow able to get from a lifeboat to
there's
like
zero
the street
boats
in Manhattan.
There's zero boats. There's no people. It's one of the busiest areas in North America.
And it's also like, I don't know, even a much less busy port or dock. If you fall out of a fucking, I don't know, rowboat, it's hard to get from the boat back onto the dock. Like whatever they would have to go through to get on
They
this
just paddle up with a lifeboat, get off at the South Street Seaport, and start walking into Manhattan with no one going like, "Is everything okay?"
Now we are getting quite ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
because,
let's jump back.
Because they don't get to Manhattan until an hour and 5 minutes into this hour 40-minute film.
Yes, they're only in Manhattan for the back 30 minutes. Almost the whole movie takes place.
It takes place on this boat, this cruise, this
And it's
senior
not-
cruise.
Jason spends 5 minutes in Manhattan and most of it on the boat. It is Jason Takes Manhattan.
Jason takes the Lazarus.
slow boat. Jason takes the slow boat to Manhattan.
So let's meet who else is on the Lazarus.
Yeah, we have we meet Wayne, our videographer, who is filming JJ, a guitarist who she seems into Wayne.
She seems into Wayne. Wayne's into Tamara, unfortunately.
And Wayne is like, hey, that was pretty good. And she's like, where are you going? Let's go. Like, I hear we can get the lingo in this is so hilarious. It's like we can get like rockin' concert echo if down in the control room.
Now, I watched this with my son. He's 14 years old. He
Likes horror movies.
Likes horror movies, is a musician, and did really like JJ. And he was like, fuck this when she died.
Yeah, no, she's
And
cute.
she's playing. Then she goes by herself into this humongous control.
Dude,
I mean, it's definitely
we got to talk about this cruise ship because when they pull away, it's the size of like a party boat.
Yes.
But later on, it's revealed there's a boxing gym,
it's like
a sauna.
It's like a carnival cruise boat.
It ends up being like a fucking Navy boat, like the way that when they go to the underground, like it's.
I was like, should we have shown this on the cruise that we're gonna do?
Yeah, we should save this for this cruise is important. Wait, I'll run it back. Who cares?
It's weird because I think the amenities are cruise ship, but it never felt or looked like.
No,
it didn't feel like.
It's also like such a weird like. So these kids just who the fuck wants to do anything after they graduate high school? No one. Like as soon as you graduate school, it is like a cartoon where there's just a dust cloud of like where you were standing. Like everyone is fucking gone. And
I like left my books and like shit like on my desk. I was like, I'm fucking done with school. Like this is just a cap and gown. I'm nude running home.
Our school was under construction our senior year, so like it sucked. Like everything was and it's all these things you think about like senior year of like you can actually park in the parking lot if you have a car.
Right.
Like they're like little
for seniors only.
Yes, little things like that that only seniors can do. And you're like, man, I'm fucking senior year. I can't wait to actually. And the whole school's fucked up. They shut down all like the gym's closed. Like everything's there's a huge dirt pile like in front. And then the teachers are like, as a thank you to you guys. After the construction's over, we're gonna have a welcome breakfast for you guys to and it's like, what? Who the fuck is gonna go back to school when you don't have to? Yeah, for a breakfast.
Oh, Mr. Morris, I just wanted to say I enjoyed science and it was a lot of.
I'm gonna wake up early on a day I don't have to like have breakfast with my old teachers.
I guess I'll have a cup of fruit and toast.
It's like.
Thank you, Mr. Morris.
In 20 years, yeah.
Yeah, maybe over
even then.
Christmas break when I'm home or something like that. Yeah.
Even then, it's like iffy.
I wouldn't go, but I could understand someone who wanted to go to that.
Yeah. Well,
I can't wrap my head around someone who wants to go like the day.
A senior, an 18-year-old, a child.
No,
thinking like I want to do this.
Do you know what my school did? You just triggered this in me. You know what my school did? The day after the pep rally, which was always the biggest party, was the day after homecoming. Pep rally, homecoming, back to back. The day after homecoming, that night was always a huge bash. They had the seniors have mandatory graduation rehearsal the morning after homecoming at 7:30 a.m. And if you missed it, you couldn't walk in graduation. They purposely, but then it ended up being the funnest morning ever because everyone who did pull it off was drinking together till like 1:30 the night before. So it was like the first time I was like a college level hungover, had to be in class kind of thing. And it backfired completely because no one behaved for the whole rehearsal. And the teachers like felt like we're just like, okay, I think we got it. Like everyone got to leave at like 9.
The late 80s also is right before the wave of litigation over everything where there is no world. There is no world where you're like, you know what? Yeah, let's let a bunch of 18-year-olds crazy on a cruise boat.
It's crazy that even in the writing, there's not one parent that tags along on this.
And then, what like when the girls get busted for coke? So we should talk about like some of these other characters.
So
we meet
Tamara.
Tamara, she's the former prom queen and is a villain. And she's got like all kind of powerful high school villains. They have a lackey, which is this girl who's got a science scholarship. She's also the only Asian character, and her
only Asian character has got a science scholarship. The only black character is an
athlete, is the jock. And they're watching through a skylight all these guys boxing, including Julius. Who Julius is like the cool
7 inches taller than everyone, has a man's like muscular physique and is punching like a 16-year-old kid.
Yes, he like knocks a kid out and the prom queen's like he's the only senior I would even think of like hooking up with.
Letting him sleep with. What do you think of the framing of the 8 guys standing in a semicircle on one side going like, yeah, it's so made for TV.
And it's like this cruise boat has a bunch of boxing equipment.
And on the first night they're there, they've been pushed away from the shore for like First, we see them dance a little bit. They have like a little bit of like, and then afterwards, they're downstairs boxing.
And just doing it into zero supervision.
Yeah.
And then these girls start doing coke. And of course, the prom queen is like upset that like, the prom queen just wants to do drugs and being a peer pressuring her friend who does not want to do them.
Yeah.
And she's like, come on, just do it. Like, who'll say anything? And then Rennie shows up.
Looking for her dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who ran off because he got spooked by Jason.
Yeah.
Because Jason is very sensitive to Rennie for some reason, and she
we'll find out later.
She is like kind of seeing him as a little boy, and we'll kind of get an answer to that, which is very stupid.
It seems like they have the invented swimming thing to solve this mystery, but it all sucks.
Wet Jason kind of sucks, and he climbs the fucking anchor that he gets on the Lazarus by climbing the rope.
Wet Jason sucks. Wet pussy
rules.
That's good. Yeah.
Dry Jason, cool. Dry pussy, I'll figure it out. You got a Hawk 2 on that thing.
Can we say all the kids
Just bringing that up like a year later?
Yeah,
So happy.
we're well beyond that. No, we recorded this right when it was in the phenomenon.
We recorded this in 2013.
Yeah, we're big into our crypto coin, so we should be fine.
Yeah, we're doing great. Yeah, I believe her. I trust her.
Every kid in the like Jason prosthetic, and it seems like they're using different kids, right?
Because there seem to be different sizes.
They all
and age.
look terrible. They all look really
I will
bad.
say the one big eye thing is a little scary. I will like we only get it in this one
They're
shot.
too like brightly lit.
Yes,
They're too like
the
you can
whole
actually
movie is too brightly lit.
You can see like all their like you can see the prosthetics and stuff.
Well,
it looks crazy.
There's one shot of a kid, and we talked about this tank earlier, which we'll see multiple times. It's a lit tank that they do all Baywatch, all the shitty low budget movies they'll do in this lit tank. It's got the kid with the mask on in the lit, and it looks like a little kid. And I'm like, how safe is it for an 8-year-old to have a fucking sloth from Goonies mask on and swim?
Underwater, yeah.
So
Probably a little person, maybe.
Renee, I feel like they go back.
They do.
I think
But
I
they
bet
say-
you her name is Renee, but her nickname is Rennie. Yeah.
So they
it's
go
weird
back
for
and
us
forth
because
a
we have
little
a
bit.
friend named Rennie, and there's also Rennie Harlan, the director,
Yeah.
but her name in this is
So
Rennie.
she has a thing with Sean, and Sean gives her a Statue of Liberty necklace. That is
Well, this is one of my favorite interactions in the movie because I just love these. Like,
yes, he
his
says
poor writing moments. Just real quick, he goes, I didn't think you were going to be on this trip. She goes, yeah, well, we decided, points to the dog. And then he's like, oh, okay, well, then I do have a gift for you. Like, I didn't think you were coming, but I'm holding this Statue of Liberty necklace. And this is what makes me think he is in the school. Because, like, how does he, like, or he's graduated a year earlier?
I think that's what my theory is. He graduated. They have a relationship clearly.
Yeah.
But then his line is like, it's 22 stories. I thought we could hike up.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck said hike?
Yeah,
Like, let's go for a hike up the Statue of Liberty.
Well, and it's also, we're going to close out the movie with a very exciting thing that happens on the Statue of Liberty. So it's kind of cool that he's giving her the necklace, and it is a stupid necklace to give
You
somebody.
really
but-
have to get rid of the whole Manhattan thing when they're like, we can't film there. You got to throw it
You
away.
throw
can't
it
have the
out.
necklace anymore.
Nobody realizes they still fuck up where it's like, okay, this New York City's supposed to be a character in this movie. We could just shoot it in Boston. No, what
you
does it fucking
can't.
matter? We'll shoot in Toronto. Like, no, you can't. You just should get rid of it or just make it like any city USA.
Yeah. Or definitely change the title.
Jason in the City is fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jason in the City. Make it Liberty City or
Yeah,
whatever
exactly.
the fuck you want it.
When Jason takes a light in the city.
In the city, city of Jason.
In the city. So Jason laughs in this one, so the normal Jason breathing sound effect is iconic, and it's from the first one. And it's like a
Yeah.
and it's musical, and it was used
It's
as
more like
sort
a
of a sound.
score than
Yeah,
a sound effect.
Atmosphere.
And sometimes they'll work. Kill.
Yeah. This one, there's a straight up Jason.
Yes, and he goes, ha 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 ha. He climbs on the boat and he goes, ha ha ha.
I hated
and
that.
it is fucking
I hated that. Wet ass Jason.
He's
Cardi B said it best.
greasier.
The wet ass Jason.
Hit
Hit me with the hockey mask in the back of my throat.
Has it ever worked to add a laugh track to anything? You know, it's in
MASH. Such a good show.
Yeah.
And so crazy that he laughs. All right, so we should run down.
So Tamara's doing coke.
So we're with JJ, and JJ is like, "Are you going after prom queen to Wayne?" And Wayne's like, "Yeah, she's sexy. I got to help her shoot some video." And she's like, "You're crazy." So she goes down to the catacombs of the
quick
boat.
Aside, the uncle/principal who says like, and not everyone's done their final project. I'm gonna check it on this cruise. You're like, why do we have all these beats in this movie?
That was fucking crazy. So JJ is playing. She's rocking out in the catacombs.
The hole.
Yeah, the like
the
machine room. But it's like 15 stories.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
It's
like
enormous.
She's on one of those like girders that's over a fuck like a
and she's like,
metal.
we should be shooting a music video here. She's not wrong.
She's 100% right. That's the best location for
and
the
she
movie.
is playing with drums and vocal like it's a fully mixed soundtrack that she is rocking out to. And then of course Jason comes down, swings her axe onto her, and you don't see any impact. They're kind of doing the thing that got made fun of, where it's just a bright splatter of blood on the wall.
Yeah, I hate this shit.
And we've seen him kill somebody with the spear gun already.
Right.
So it's not like you need to start showing at this point the deaths on screen.
The deaths are what is where the bread is buttered in these movies.
Yeah, you can't hit. Maybe the first couple you can do a silhouette thing, but now it's like we need to see.
So I think the use of nudity in this movie is really effective. Of you start the movie with some like cheap thrill nudity, and then they tease it for the rest of the movie. This is the kind of stuff when you're a kid almost drove you crazy, and now I really enjoy. I like the tease of like, oh, this is how you should do it. They did put some they did cross the line like to begin with, so it's like they did that, and it leads the possibility in your head of like, oh, these teens are going to be hooking up. So because when you're 13, you're like, this is crazy.
Yeah, and as things start to get worse, you're like, uh-oh, we might be done on the nudity now because too many people have died.
Yeah, they're probably
so
not
you're
gonna
like
fuck
trying
now,
to do the math on it. How many
Yeah.
people know about that? So they don't know that she's died.
She might still pull her titties
No,
out.
Yeah, so this could,
okay, well, this is
it affects my enjoyment. I'm like, it can't be bad for this character to be nude, so she needs to be okay.
Wasn't it funny that the nerd camera guy was like 6'3" and like an absolute
Wayne?
hunk with like perfect hair?
Wayne was
like, and he was like, I'm the nerd. I hope Tamara likes me. He's like the hottest guy in the movie.
Wayne's
and
a
you're
stud.
Like, oh, you think that's going to be a plot point that he's going to be like some sort of hero later because he's so insanely cast? And
no,
no
you
one.
forgot that like glasses were
Right.
What glasses represented.
Yeah, that was a character type.
BCGs, yeah.
Glasses.
The
But also, I just want to say in reference to like showing us a little nudity at the top, it's how I enjoy my porns now. And so it's like the first, minute or two, there's fucking, and then the rest of it is just, a kid dealing with the stepmom and, his dad not being able to please her and all that kind of shit. And they get to the bottom of
problems with the appliances,
the washing machine, the coffee table. The underneath the coffee table is smaller than I originally thought.
it. Yeah. People getting stuck
Shit,
places.
we only have one full-size bed on this vacation with my stepsister. The usual.
You did a great job at your basketball game today. Oh, thanks, Mom. Whoa.
The girls are doing coke, and they think like
Are you
maybe
ladies doing drugs?
First they think Renee will rat them out, so they're paranoid about that. And then immediately her Uncle Charles is like, "Are you girls doing drugs?" They stand up in the mirror. They were doing blow on cracks.
And this is where we see Rennie in her room with a microphone singing, "I miss my Uncle Charles." Can anybody tell me why? We die. I miss my Uncle Charles.
You should watch. You should watch. Gabrus did do a recut of this movie with Bone Thugs and Harmony song.
Miss my Uncle Charles, y'all, and I miss my dog, Toby.
But he'll come back at the end of the movie because he's just not able to swim in the sewage.
Yeah, that I like the words that you added to it.
And it makes sense. Bone Thugs and Harmony, Ohio-based group, and of course there's the river in Ohio that connects to New York City that they took from Crystal Lake.
Just another 7 more days on the boat, kids, and then we'll get to climb the Statue of Liberty at night. Like, when are they going to get there?
Take A train from Battery Park to Times Square.
That's how Jason knows to get around. You can. I did set my ways to Jason ambiance music, and it is kind of fun.
101.
Lassie and Naga. Oh, he says it right.
Turn Rob Robinson in 705 feet. It's like you're gonna have to speed it up a little because I missed the fucking turn.
All right.
All right. That's it. You know, you see like getting to the movie is gonna take longer and longer.
Yeah,
and
and
longer.
trying to use Jason to get to fucking Chef Kevin's without doxing him. You got to take 14 highways to get over here. Showed my passport twice.
They get busted with the coke, or it could be crystal meth. We
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
have
They
your
are
real ID now. You needed it.
they're busted with the coke. It could be crystal meth. That is
Yeah.
Crystal Lake. We don't know if Tamara likes to party with Tina or not.
Yeah, we don't know how much she's partying.
I mean, they're snorting it at the very least. We know that.
Yeah.
And they're pissed off. And the principal is like, you have to show me your science project right this instant, which is fucking crazy. And it's like, or what? Like,
It also seems to be the middle of the night and the kids are boxing downstairs.
Yeah, they wouldn't. For these kinds of trips, even like a fucking field trip, you cannot do the field trip unless the work is done. Right. They wouldn't let her on her fucking senior grad trip. You just won't even get on the boat. Or it's separate from the school, in which case there wouldn't be a principal.
so then they are pissed.
And then all the kids have their own cabins, it seems like.
Yes, they blame Renee for ratting on them.
Yeah.
And so they're like, I think she's got a little fear of the water. And then they go up to the deck and they bump her off and she goes in the water and the teacher just watches and it makes no sense. They have Sean, her love interest, dive in later. Like, if you're the teacher, you just jump in and say,
You have to. That's like a teacher's job.
These poor
Unfortunately.
fucking actors having to make sense of like what's going on in this.
Even just the woman, Tamara, having to somehow push her out, like, is like nearly impossible. Like,
they were all, I read that they all watched, they had like a marathon together watching 1 through 7. And they were like, we're going to make this the best one ever. And they must have really thought like, wow, we're a Friday. Like, now it was such a known thing. It was probably a really exciting
It'd be
job.
so cool to get
this
the
is
job.
one
Yeah.
every Christmas, one a year.
This would be like being in like a new Star Wars
Right,
series.
exactly.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck, I'm part of this thing
Wow.
that hasn't been
I'm in.
absolutely tainted yet.
Nobody will pay attention to how I run as a 4-year-old or whatever. People.
I'm in Hans Dose.
Han Duo.
Dose. Han Duo. Holy shit. I'm in Han Duo. A Star Wars story.
Well, you're the second Han we've had.
We're going to make Han Trio the best one.
And that one's actually
Han Quattro.
That's actually Han in Tokyo Drift.
Han Quattro. Chewie takes Manhattan.
All the parts played by Armie Hammer.
So, the plan that the prom queen has is that she's going to seduce the principal, and she takes her robe off and she's wearing like underwear, and the hilarious performance.
loved it.
He's like, what are you doing? Stop that. And she grabs him and kisses him, and
But
she has
wait.
champagne and stuff, and is like really.
She's
he's
got
like,
the
"But
word
where did you
stomach
get that?"
written
Yes,
on her.
that's her science project.
Yeah,
it's
it's like,
her.
this is my biology project. It's like got her heart.
It says heart over here, not
It's-
where the heart is.
written in lipstick or something, and she's got all her shit.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a good idea, dude.
If she pulled that shit out in class, you would just
Be like,
I would
yeah.
be, I'd be a Tex Avery cartoon
Yeah.
going.
Well, and you would remember,
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody
where-
would.
I know where
what
the stomach is now. Thank you,
curves,
Tamara.
Yeah,
It's
the Lena Alba.
the labia minora with 8 candles in it. The fucking poor acting this guy has to do, where he's like
He hangs in it for a while.
Yes, he has to get caught on camera.
So Wayne busts in is filming it all, and then he's like, "Stop this right this moment. I'm your teacher."
He has to resist to be not an absolute creep, but he also has to get caught. So the actors he kind of ends up getting made out with by like a teen.
He's horny. He's ethical. He's also has to get caught
by a teen. All these actors are, of course, famously 30s, like 40 years old. This one,
Tamra, the oldest looking.
This one has some notoriety in that it's the only one with an actual teen playing the like final girl.
Yeah,
she's 19.
Rennie is 19. Yeah.
Otherwise, all these actors were in their 20s. The dream job.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, what are we gonna do? I'm like, wear like a leather jacket. We gotta figure this out.
Getting cast as to play a high school football guy with like gray hair and shit. You're just so hyped to play in football.
I was very. I did.
Excuse me, director. Should we show some shots of me catching balls and stuff? You need me to throw it again?
Let's do tackle for real to make it look real.
I got one more in me. Just one though.
And can you get that ice pack ready?
Yeah.
The mics didn't pick up that snapping sound, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to ADR it because your body is way too
The creaking is so loud.
It injures the guy holding the boom mic. Is like, I can't fuck. You gotta warn me on these levels.
You gotta put it down like the guy in Young Frankenstein.
I mean, yeah. I think that'd be it. Look at that, I'm grabbing this water.
They did a Wet Hot American Summer. I thought took a lot of visual cues from not just the camp romps, but there is some Friday the 13th, especially like David Hyde Pierce's character.
Yeah.
Like he looks just like the counselor in Friday the 13th.
Yes, yeah.
And they were really good movies. And it plays into the like adults playing children.
I just saw someone post something that said stoked for the new season of Stranger Things, and it was Wet Hot American Summer. Because those kids have been like, it's like the 11th
they have like
year.
beards and stuff.
It's the 11th year and they're only in like 6th grade now or whatever.
I did see an interview with one guy and he was like, he has a fucking beard. Wow, I'm old. They're old now.
Yeah, right.
They're doing a cool thing though, where they have De Niro coming in playing a new kid and they de-aged him.
Still walks like this though. So
And maybe you can get 11 to.
let's get into some of these kids' deaths before we get off the boat, because lame.
Well,
death.
they come pretty fast now.
Yeah,
It's like this. Jason basically, after the principal leaves and they try to blackmail him, she's all satisfied. Wayne makes he tries to be like, hey, I've always thought you were kind of like banging or whatever. Like
I've always had the
slang.
hots for you. Since sophomore year, I've had the hots for you.
Hots.
Yeah. And she's like, get the fuck out of here, dork.
And then Jason comes for her. And this is a tease because she's like kind of showering and they show, and you think you're going to see her get out of the shower and they don't show you that. And then you're worried you're going to see her naked when Jason is killing her, which you also don't want to see.
He kills her with a piece of the broken mirror.
He smashes her into a mirror and then picks up that maybe is a commentary on her vanity.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then he grabs the glass and kills her.
Yeah. That's how she dies. Could not care less.
He gives her a biology lesson.
But still one of the better deaths on the boat, because here are the two that I hated the most.
Well, here's what's good about her is you give a shit about the character.
Right.
The sauna guy, you brought up the sauna. I don't even know who the fuck that guy is.
He's the guy who
got knocked out.
Right.
Who had weirdly way too hairy legs.
Dude, and then also the fact that he's like, imagine being a high school kid and being like, well, I lost my boxing match. You know what? I got to recover in the sauna alone on this trip. Normally on a high school trip, there's
Julius. Hey, maybe we go find those babes later.
Yeah, and then he gets the sauna stone pushed into his stomach, which I thought was kind of cool.
I heard that they ate up a lot of their prosthetic budget adding all that hair to that guy's legs.
It was like George the Animal, like Steel or whatever. Like it was. I was like, whoa, what the fuck is down there?
It's so funny to me to a high school kid's like, oh, post boxing match, I need a schwitz. And there's one on the boat, and it's heated up and ready to rip. And
then
I loved it.
The Admiral asks his first mate. He's like,
How
He's
old's
like,
your boy?
Your boy. And he's like 16 months. He's like, hey, don't talk down to him. He
Be
tries
a supportive dad.
And that's when you know this guy's gonna get killed immediately. Yeah, be a supportive dad. I'm gonna go get the newspaper. I'm gonna go get the charts. And then he leaves. And
First mate gets speared in the back. Nothing special, but kind of. And then
it's a cool shot through the glass of the cockpit,
like
or
silhouette
yeah.
of the
And it's all like lit green and stuff.
right. And he gets shot through the back. Then Captain Admiral Dad comes back in and is like, blah, 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 like talks to him for a second, realizes he's dead. And right when he does, Jason slits his throat, which felt like it's like a commando move more than a Jason
Didn't
move.
feel, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. Jason's more brutal.
Jason has too much personality in this
Yes.
one.
It's supposed to be more like brutal killing and like more like
They're
a
trying to make
predator.
him a little funny.
Yes, and it's not working. So he slits the captain's throat, and you're like, whoa. But the captain manages to stay standing up or something so that we can fool the kid for one more beat or whatever.
Got to be an answer to the Freddy stuff with Friday the 13th. Because even in the first one, he's having a fun in that one.
Oh, yeah, the Nightmare on Elm Street
I'm
movies are
sorry.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
There were, Freddy's just, I always liked Freddy more because the movies I thought were more fun.
So the one of the worst deaths is one of the most it's so bad I almost had a fondness for it, where the science scholarship girl who got was kind of like, this is you're too mean a friend to me, to the prom queen, and she finds the prom queen's body. Then Jason sees her, she runs from him, runs to the dance floor, which has music blaring, is completely empty.
There's no
And
DJ.
all the doors are locked, and she's just stuck there. And this one does feel more like Freddy, more like an actual nightmare. And then Jason just throws her across the room.
Strangles her.
Oh, okay.
Picks her up by her throat and chokes her. And we see her legs. So not an interesting kill whatsoever. We don't know anything about this girl except she's Asian, like science, and will do coke if Tamara asks her.
It's so maddening because we're supposed to buy that this is a senior trip on this cruise. And sorry to keep circling back to this, but it needs scope. And so I know they don't have a budget, but they can't get a bunch of Canadian kids to just fill a dance floor and then just walk by some people in the hallway. You would completely buy that this is a senior cruise.
Yeah, they've all been killed by Jason over the years.
That's
it's
right.
really
There's
like-
so many kids, so
Yeah,
few
there's
kids left.
not
Yeah.
that many
That's why
kids.
they only need one principal and one teacher.
Yeah.
Well, then say that.
It's our smallest graduating class yet.
Just to have like the crew. There's no crew on the ship.
There's
It's just an empty dance floor.
Bodies so bad. The whole movie needs bodies so
This
bad.
is my favorite joke. The kid captain, Sean, calls everybody into the cockpit, and he's radioing for help as Jason, of course, rips the radio out. And then this is where fucking the boxer, Julius, kind of creates his posse and tells the principal to fuck off. And then he rounds up a bunch of weapons, divvies them out, and he's like, I'm not going to take anything. Except this gun. And that is a good joke.
That's a great joke. And I've meant to say this earlier. The sauna, the boxing room, there is also skeet shooting off the side of the boat.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. I would like that.
That would be awesome. But why is that on a high school kids field trip and they're doing it unattended? They're getting
and the way they edit it together, it seems like they're shooting right above a bunch of people playing shuffleboard.
And it also seems like they're skeet shooting 1 minute into the cruise. Like everyone's like, scatter and do your activities.
In the reality would be a stupid rock climbing wall that nobody would like.
Right.
That's always the main wow, we got a state of the art entertainment, a rock climbing wall.
So the posse is looking for Jason. The principal thinks it is the deck keeper that keeps telling everybody, this boat is cursed. It's cursed.
So sorry, there are two deckhand guys. There's the deckhand who's the old man who's like, this boat is cursed. I told you we're all going to die. And then there's the weird handsome guy with a screwdriver that Tamara and
cute guy alert.
Yeah, cute guy. And then later on, he gets accidentally killed. But So there's two adults that we barely ever see.
So Wayne is part of the posse looking for Jason, and he gets his glasses knocked off. He's like, I can't see anything. And of course, he's still shooting. He's got a gun and his camera. Got to credit his commitment.
Yeah.
And he shoots what he thinks is Jason. That's a student. Then he bugs out because he just shot some guy.
Yeah.
This is the craziest.
He killed the fucking maintenance worker who's still, to make sure you know he's a maintenance worker, has the screwdriver in his hand. He's been walking all around the fucking whole boat with this. He has a tool belt on with tools in it, and he's got a fucking Phillips in his hand.
And there have been like alarms.
Yeah.
There have been alarms. This is actually one of the better deaths, I think, because Wayne gets set on fire and gets thrown into the control booth, and he's like burning up.
Yeah.
And this creates the whole boat like going under it starting. And the principal, of course, is like, how do I even know it's actually on fire?
His whole thing is crazy. Yeah, go right ahead, high school kids. Get your own weapons and go on your own, you fucking idiots.
I'm gonna shoot this deckhand who's talking about Jason Voorhees.
There's no way it's Jason. Like the idea that like you would argue that
He died 30 years ago.
He died 30 years ago. Yes, there's been hundreds of kid deaths in my lake since before.
Whether he buys it or not, it's like you're the fucking adult. You gotta come up with a fucking plan.
There's a lot of crazy abandonments in this movie.
Don't make
they get on a life raft.
Wait,
and
one
the
more
teacher's
kid
like,
dies,
but what about all the kids in the dance floor? And Sean goes, there is no dance floor. So they're all dead, and they leave without them all.
The hypothetical kids that Stanger says we should see, they're pretending there are more kids on the. One kid does fall off the mast. That's like such a corny death. He like runs from Jason by going
that
up.
One sucks too, because it makes Jason sort of pure magic, where he runs up the mast, and you would think like. That's pretty smart.
Like bear style, you're safe now.
But
no, Jason is suddenly right there with him.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some like teleporting around buildings and stuff towards the end where it's like we're getting way out into the supernatural.
Are we missing? I just do we get all of the deaths on the boat? I think so, because on the life, as the boat sinks, on the lifeboat ends up the two teachers. Rennie.
Julius gets thrown off the boat, but he washes.
He's another attempt at a jump scare that doesn't work.
You think he's dead, but then he pops up. Yeah.
Well, we missed the death of the deckhand with the axe in his back.
Oh, yeah.
And that freaks out the principal because he's like, wait a second, this isn't that
actually
guy?
might be pretty Jason.
Yeah.
That seems
okay. Maybe
the guy I thought.
Excuse me, this is Jason coded.
him, like you alluded to this, but he multiple times says that it's a curse. And then the last lap he does on that is so funny after very obviously people have died, where he's like, there's something bad that's going to happen. It's like, well, yeah, we've already witnessed.
He's back and he's going to kill you.
He hits like one extra lap on that is
one
purely
of my favorite
comical.
cliches of all these movies. It's in the first Friday the 13th and the second maybe, and then they haven't brought him back for a while, but it's in other stuff. It's in other horror movies too. It got to be an old man. He's got to know all the lore of everything.
Well, I've seen some horrors in World War II, but nothing like this.
Because around here,
it's this very day, in fact.
Yeah, the
this
dude
very night,
whose job is to pretty much read the non-dialogue page in the beginning of the screenplay. It's like lay the groundwork late in the movie. Like,
I put a character like that in an episode of Lower Decks I wrote, and I had a Tamanic voice.
Oh, perfect.
That's so great.
Kid turned around to be murdered by his mother. Now, what kids didn't realize in the neighborhood was that a lot of them thought that he might be somebody that was in fact evil. They killed him.
No kids are going to talk about Jason Voorhees. Could you imagine going to Lakeview High, how Jason would be talked about every chance you got? You would not do your homework and be like, I was just thinking about Jason Voorhees and all the stuff he did, and I got scared. So
everyone would be huge fans of the hockey team. Like the hockey team would have like a full crowd, like everyone wearing the fucking goalie masks. Like,
hockey fans, I meant to look this up. How long did those masks get used? 3 seasons?
Yeah.
If that.
And until Chris Churlis grabbed it for Heat.
I mean, they were barely used. I mean, for a long time, hockey masks were not used by goalies, which is insane. Then they got used, and then even the
tech
evolution of
escalated
them.
so
Well,
fast.
I
The one
think
guy got his throat slit by a skate, and then they had to add like the neck guard shit.
I think there was this neurologist who was a flight surgeon, Dr. Winger.
Oh, you did? We talked about an episode of Quantum Leap where they talked about chimp helmets.
Well, this guy designed helmets, and I think he might have had some involvement in these hockey helmets and the evolution of that. Now, I hope they weren't tested on chimps.
Too many chimps got their throats slit by skates.
So we finally make it to Manhattan after a lot of rowing. And
Everyone kind of falls asleep and wakes up to Sean having used the computer and rowing, paddling himself like one-armed canoe, takes the lifeboat from wherever they sunk and caught fire to no Mayday, no Coast Guard rescue there. They are now paddled alone all the way to Manhattan. We made it!
I figure out how to use their computer and stuff.
it's working.
The fact that,
What about you, Sean? Have you figured it out? You idiot.
let me guess, Jason took your sextant?
Wait, I did figure it out.
The fucking shit.
If only you had your father, an admiral's brains and sextant. We will not be accepting Jason as an excuse why your final project is late.
Yes, we had ballots for class president, and for the 15th year in a row,
Jason Voorhees is not an acceptable written-in candidate.
So we've had to add ranked voting.
Now, you mentioned kids not being able to talk about anything, but I had a situation at my school, high school, where a kid murdered his mom. Horrible, awful thing. It's all anybody talked about forever. I mean, that's it. And this was one thing. So, like, people don't get beyond that. People would be
I know about
obsessively...
Gabrus's girl at his school got hit by a t-shirt canter. So, like these
They never go away.
No,
So
the
people
big
forget or
one
like,
in my high school is a kid shit his pants in school, and then everyone made fun of him for years. He graduated, but his mom still worked as like a hall monitor. People would still bring it up to his mom. Like, he's gone from the school. We're like, your kid shit his pants 3 years ago, and everyone, she's like, knock it off. And
well, you can see how that lady would kill a bunch of people in the school.
Makes sense. Yeah.
A long time ago, a boy messed himself in his pants. Now, this was one of those.
My son had one bad day where he shit his pants, and kids like you laughed at him.
I've got like tube socks and short shorts
They
on.
were too busy having sex and partying.
What's she saying? I can't hear her over eating your pussy, Nancy. What's the wrong name? Tried to think of like a cliche name, and I said,
no,
your
he's
friend's
talking
wife.
about,
Mentioned your friend's wife was sitting next to you.
I made that up.
No, as long as she's enjoying herself and you're enjoying yourself, then it's one of those.
Immediately when they get to Manhattan, they get mugged, and then they all take a liking. The muggers take a liking to Renee, and they take her away to rape her. And
They get mugged. She gets kidnapped, and the principal's like, "Let him go."
Uncle
we have
Charles
to let him go, and I think we should all go our separate ways.
split up.
Fucking
His niece.
craziest thing in the
And
movie.
we maybe still don't even know he's her uncle at this point.
Yeah, we know like pretty early on, I think.
It takes a little bit of time.
It takes a little bit longer, and then we don't know. We get more taste of their background. You don't know that her parents are both dead, really. Like, you there's a lot that they don't.
Like,
They infer,
you
I
think
guess.
she tells Sean at one point, it's like, my parents died in a car accident. It's like everybody I love goes away.
Wait,
right.
what? That's super sad or something.
Does your like your Statue of Liberty necklace?
My dad thinks something's wrong with me.
I ever think my dad's right.
My dad doesn't love me. My friends only hang out with me to get free boat rentals.
I'm like pretty handsome, but I'm a captain.
I'm the captain now.
dad's an admiral, but I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now, Tom Hanks.
Wait, this light box works, and it took us to Manhattan. Or-
Now you have COVID, Tom Hanks. You're the first one. Can we meet your son, Chet?
So we get to the Big Apple.
Well, she's about. They're like, it'll feel better.
They give her. They this is the scariest part. They give her heroin. This is where you're like, okay, she would get AIDS for sure.
And they're saying like you'll like it more if you're doped up. And
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like, Jesus Christ.
And then luckily, Jason comes to save the day and jams the syringe through one guy. And then the second mugger's like, yo, I forgot my wallet, man. And then unloads a full clip into Jason. And you would think after like a cup, 3 shots, maybe you just take the fuck off.
Yeah, her getting jammed with the needle in 89 in New York, where they're not doing needle exchange.
No.
I mean, that's what got
I don't think there's harm reduction happening in Jason Takes Manhattan universe.
And that's where Ray Sharkey caught AIDS. Look him up. It's a sad story about an actor.
Look him up. Listen to one of our other episodes where he comes up.
We
probably
talked about
last week.
Well, I think if you watch Cop and a Half and we eventually do it, we'll talk about Ray Sharkey, but we can move on.
So,
wait, just to jump back for 1 second. When they get mugged, now remember, they took a boat from and Julius climbed into the boat from out of the water. They go to get mugged. Everyone is completely dry. And he's like, give me your wallets. And Julius just reaches in and gets his wallet. Yeah, when did you grab your wallet? You went from boxing to
No,
fighting.
he's got a tracksuit on.
It's in his tracksuit pocket, fully not wearing.
I
He's
do
like, "Here
love
you
that
go."
Charles is like, he's like, this is pretty good.
Yeah,
The mother's
Charles is like, so much
yeah,
cash
he's
on
got
him.
like $7,000.
You have to pay off Tamara to keep her mouth shut after he fingered her. It looks like it says pussy here.
You hid your project up your vagina.
I'm your teacher. I can't be looking just for the sake of grades. I suppose I will.
Well, I don't want you to fail. Let's spin around and see where that.
So
I don't like it, but I'll do it.
So Renee runs off, and then Jason wanders the empty New York and kills these kids.
Somehow they don't leave enough of a block radius that Jason's able to hunt them down. And this is where the Manhattan of it, you lose a little bit of juice because it's like.
This is where Julius tries to call the cops, and he gets to a payphone, and Jason smashes through the payphone, and Julius runs away, runs up onto a rooftop, and they square off. We get to see this great boxer versus Jason.
High school boxer. Fight
The biggest
Jason.
jock in all of Lakeview High, total best jock of 20 kids, freshman to graduation class.
So, yeah, Jason Takes Manhattan. I agree with you. The scene of the movie is the rooftop boxing scene.
Yes, and so Julius is hitting this guy. He's taking swings.
Working the body, too.
He's working the body. He's doing everything. He immediately gets exhausted. And
He's been up all night boxing, swimming.
He's not jabbing, which I think, you probably wouldn't waste your time, jabbing and ducking and moving and stuff. He's just throwing haymakers. They do look pretty good. I think the
and
punches.
Jason's walking back with each punch. And it's a good long setup of Jason taking punches, walking back, Julius getting more and more tired.
You don't at all think that Julius is getting anything on him, but you're like happy to see Julius deck. Because this is fun. This is a fun visual. Punching Jason in the face, a guy we saw get shot 3 times.
Well, also nobody's done it,
Right.
and we've never seen anybody actually try to fight Jason.
And they set him up in the beginning of being a badass.
Yeah.
You know he's in fucking shape. They remind you he's wearing a fucking tracksuit. And for you were talking about what would I do against Jason?
We Predators watching.
Oh, that would be awesome. I like the Julius versus Predator thing. But not even Jason. I want Julius to fight him. But I was like, what would you do against Jason? I was like, well, fuck, if I'm in shape, I guess I would just try to fight him. And I think the move would be to ram him with your shoulder or something to see if you can get him off the building. But I do like that we have this face-off with the boxer. Now, there's a couple of stuff I wanted to ask you guys about or tell you. So I did some research, and I looked up how many pounds of force it would potentially take somebody to get their head punched off, or for somebody to punch somebody's head off. The scene culminates with Jason. The guy, it's great. He does this one line.
Jason says, go ahead, give me your best shot. And then Jason punches the guy's fucking head off.
Yeah. Julius is like, all right, motherfucker. Take your best shot, motherfucker.
Yeah. All right, take your best shot.
And I've been there where you're just like, fuck it, I'll just do whatever you got for me. Now, so in looking this up, and we were talking about the dangers of AI and all this shit. And so I tried to pull from multiple sources so I wasn't just doing what AI offered up. And I was able to kind of gather, because people are interested in this kind of shit, like Ring Magazine and all this stuff. And so usually like force production is measured in newtons, but they'll kind of dumb it down and do the math stuff.
For PSI?
Or not even PSI, it's pounds of force.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so a typical person can get between 200 to 500 pounds of force in a punch. Somebody in good shape, probably upwards of around 500 pounds. A trained fighter, so somebody that's doing MMA, somebody probably like Julius, is getting up to about 800 pounds.
Okay.
All right. So Tyson in his prime, they estimate was hitting around 1,200 pounds of force. All right. Ivan Drago.
This is the only time I've ever seen the number right after a punch is in Rocky IV when Drago's hitting the machine.
And that's PSI. So they ultimately get to
2,150 PSI.
And then so that converted into force is 8,600 pounds. So Drago is getting there.
That's the Moscow.
He's about 100 times stronger than Tyson.
Yeah. So whatever he hits, he destroys. So for Jason to get somebody's head off, they estimate that it would take, because there's like tendons and spine and all this kind of shit, to completely free it from his body would be 180,000 pounds of force.
So, I mean, 180,000 pounds of force is crazy.
But
I don't know how they got to this number. Basically, it's impossible to research.
So, I mean, what we've seen Jason do, I mean, I guess it's possible. He's got to get 100, and he does hold him tight and then like punch him off. So you need, because otherwise, why wouldn't he just fall off the building?
Spiral. Yeah.
Now,
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Because I watched it because Shorty the Clown in Killer Clowns of Outer Space, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, also punches somebody's head off the biker. He doesn't. He just like swings at him and the guy's head rolls off into a trash can.
I feel like if you had some sort of sharpness, like a ring on, maybe you could slice it clean off.
Yeah, but you'd have to then you're like aiming for the neck, kind of, right? Because I think it's about the force separating the head from the body.
And he holds him strong with his arm. He grabs him and then like punches Haymaker.
It's a good reveal too of where the head lands.
Right.
It closes the
of
dumpster.
like yes, supposedly it goes into a dumpster, but then Jason off camera, mind you, sees a cop car pull up, grabs the head out of the dumpster, I guess, then puts it in front of the cop car.
Yeah,
like
puts
on
it
the
inside
hood.
the cop car,
Yeah.
on the dash.
Is taunting them. I guess Rennie to get at her or whatever. Now, real quick with Julius, can you guys imagine me as a kid and guess if I was able to finish watching this movie after that happened? Or if I was so mad I had to leave the room?
Is this one that's got you?
Yeah. My dad told me about it. He's like, you're going to love this part. And I was
I watched
watching
this
it.
at the dinner table with my dad. He was laughing at it.
And this rattled Stanger forever.
I had to leave, dude. I was like, the boxer loses my favorite character. I was like, fucking done. I'm done.
It is funny. Luckily, you were a jock, so you got to like root for the jock characters. Meanwhile, I'm like, hopefully the guy with the camera is cool. Like, it's like, no, that motherfucker's gonna kill someone by accident first before he even dies. He kills an innocent guy.
Worst death.
The worst death. He has to
Burns
die
alive.
knowing he killed somebody too.
Well, at least the guy in the boat got laid.
Do you think that Uncle Charles wished that he fucked Tamara when he was thinking he was going to die?
Yeah,
He's like,
right.
at this point, I would have fucking died.
Well, Tamara's dead. You can't,
Yeah,
you can't
she's
say shit.
dead.
The camera's burned. I should have just done it.
So we should talk about the uncle's death. The uncle gets we do have this this moment of revelation. A cop shows up, and of course, the cop gets immediately killed. The most Canadian cop.
How
as
does
we
the cop
mentioned
get
before.
killed?
They just toss him like.
This is a fun one though, because he whips him across to the wall. Right? Yeah.
It's also so funny based on what the cop says in his ridiculous Canadian accent that they explain to him the whole Jason story.
It's a bit of a doozy.
Instead of just saying like, look, we're terrified.
Get us out of here.
Yeah, take us to the
Just
police
drive.
station.
Yeah.
So then we have a flashback in a flaming puddle of the uncle teaching Renee to swim
In Crystal Lake.
Yes, in Crystal Lake, and says Jason will get you if you don't like learn how to
The
swim.
last couple years you've been here, you never took an opportunity. So you think this is where she gets to be afraid of swimming, but she's already afraid
She's
of
already
swimming.
been afraid of swimming. Her parents are already dead. So it seems like there's a lot more going on with
I think
her.
I think we got to rewrite the song. I hate my Uncle Charles. Guy's a fucking piece of shit. I know both your parents are dead,
I'm glad
and this
my
is where
Uncle
the
Charles dead.
Can anybody tell me why he threw me in the lake?
So she had she gets grabbed by young Jason.
I don't want to swim. Sorry. She gets grabbed.
Chambers then gets back to business.
What are you so afraid of? Just learn to swim. Yes, there's a dead kid at the bottom of this lake. Everybody knows that.
Pulls him in. It pulls her in. That so that I guess is the bond she has.
That's what
with
connects them forever.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what
before
he feels like he's got to get her is because he never got her back then. And these movies are all about trauma because it's like the first two. It's like the mom dealing with her trauma, then him coming back to life in 2 and dealing with his trauma of them and his mom. So it's all this kind of vengeance shit. And I guess they're trying to ram trauma in with Rennie and
save the trauma for your mama.
and Uncle Charles who traumatized her.
So this is where
they
we
make
get
him
the
look a little younger.
Like all the stuff in New York looks bad because it's all Vancouver, other than like one day they had in Times Square for 5 minutes. But the like them going into the diner and like getting chased around the city and on the subway. There's no like New York jokes that you think you would have.
I almost thought in the subway they were going for the joke that no one reacted.
Yeah.
Which I thought would be like a corny but like New York joke, like well, New York City guy with a hockey mask, but there's nothing happens.
It's
like
fun
that.
when the big guy in the diner comes out to like
that's a good
we need
move.
that.
Yeah, but no one in the subway's reacting or anything like that, or someone's like, "We're going local." And, oh man, and the subways. I never remember the red era of Subway either. So it's obviously
that's
not
Vancouver.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
not,
like it
there
doesn't
is no
look like
era,
New York at all. It's like
For such a bad movie, there's so many cliche New York jokes. It's like, just do them all.
Right.
You obviously don't give a fucking shit.
the thing is they don't even do any jokes.
They tried to New York it up by like having really bad graffiti everywhere.
Yes.
And it couldn't look worse. And even one part, I don't think they could spray the walls, so they like chalked it up real weird, and it just looks like a playground.
When he grabs the payphone, it says like Quavon was here, like a fully made up like what I think is an attempt at a black guy, like a.
Well, it made me think of Quato.
Yeah, that's what I
lives.
thought. I was like, Quato lives.
Yeah, right.
Just do that. Try to hitch yourself to a better movie. Maybe they'll let it fly.
People cheered for Jason. They all cheered. We're friends with Jason.
We also know, just to head any of this off, that there's some kind of legal thing with the name Friday the 13th versus Jason too. So you guys can save your comments on that.
We know the Argonauts own the rights.
I meant to ask Manzukis what it was like being a kid in the 80s with the name Jason.
You know, my brother's name was Jason.
But
because
he was like after.
he was born in the 90s.
Yes.
Because my middle brother was going to be Jason. But my parents were like, we can't do that because of the movie.
Yeah.
And then they just
It
waited
cooled
like
off
6
a
more
little bit.
years. And we're like, yeah, fine, you could be Jason. My parents, no idea what they were doing with naming. They named me Jonathan. My dad's name is John. He's John Jr. I could have been John Alfred Gabris III, but instead I'm Jonathan James. And my mom named me Jonathan because she didn't like the name John. I thought you were. Why aren't I Justin then, or J? Like, and I don't even have to be a J name because I'm the first boy. Then my brother is born. They're like, we want to name him Jason, but that's too crazy because of the movies. Let's name him Justin. And then Justin is born, and then they're like, well, now we can't have a non-J kid on the third name. And I can't think of anything besides Jason.
My wife made a hard push for our son to be named Damien after she saw The Omen, and I was like, I don't know what this means or why.
I mean, it is like Damien probably killed that name for a little while.
Right.
Yeah.
But it came back.
There was a.
I've met a few Damiens.
I had a Damien in my in my friend group in college. Yeah, shout out Damien, who maybe is working for the government in a.
Osama's kind of coming back as a name.
Osama Gabris. That's my son's name.
We wanted to call him Osama, but the whole 9/11 thing.
I thought there would be way more Baracks born. Like I thought that was gonna like kick something off with names, but I don't know any young Baracks.
Yeah, I don't.
Lesnar.
Yeah, there's Barack Lesnar. Have you? This is a quick aside. Have you seen the videos of Brock Lesnar's daughter doing shot put and shit?
Yes.
She's an insane, like,
she's
collegiate and she looks just like
I love her.
I love her. I love her.
Yeah.
If you're watching, you're in college. That's too young.
So Charles gets dipped in a vat of toxic waste and drowned in the very same one we saw in the beginning with the rat.
Where the poor wet rat lived.
Yeah. And he drowns. It's pretty nasty. And they escape into the sewers where they meet another like Canadian townsperson.
Jason drowning the uncle is... The visual is like when a bully flushes a guy in the toilet, right? Like he's kind of like holding him by his legs, giving him a swirly in the toxic thing. It doesn't look scary, like doesn't feel dangerous. It looks kind of like corny. It looks like a guy's operating it with like stick figures.
And again, here's this thing where they're setting all this stuff up. This is a New York that runs toxic waste through sewers.
Every night at midnight.
Yes, and there's toxic waste in these trash cans. It killed somebody. You think, wow, this will be the only thing that can kill Jason is toxic
so this
waste.
is the ticking clock that they got to get out of the sewers before they're flushed with toxic waste.
The way the guy explains, he's like, and good thing I ran into you because you have about 8 minutes.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck are you doing in here?
Why are you here? And why do you have no urgency seeing 2 kids randomly in the sewer?
We saw
Jason
this
kills this guy almost immediately.
Well, we saw this done first and better in another movie we covered called Certain Fury, but it's water. Anyway, moving on.
And even this like doesn't really make any sense. They climb up a ladder and they can't get out, and luckily they're just out of the way of the toxic sludge.
Yeah.
That I guess doesn't smell bad.
I was
or
say,
have
it's not
any
dangerous to
fumes.
breathe. It's just dangerous if you go underneath the water.
And put some fucking dry ice in that shit.
Yeah.
It just looks like one. And then you're wondering like, wow, Jason's been able to levitate and teleport. Now he just can't climb up a fucking ladder. Right. Like, what the fuck is going on?
It was toxic
and then
waste.
he decomposes and turns back into his young boy form.
Great barf. Great water,
which supposedly was real. Did you read that?
I read that in the sauna in the IMDb trivia. It says the actor Kent Haber, or whatever the dude's name is, Kane Hodder, is this is him actually puking. He drank a bunch of water before the take. I'm like, it's not a lot. Like, he could have easily said, he's got a mask on. Like, there's no reason.
It's fucking crazy. That's real. I feel like bad for him that they put it in the movie.
When I was playing college football, we'd have to come back from summer to be in shape, and show that we had been conditioning all summer if we didn't stick around. And there was a guy that I played running back with. His name was Marcus Fields. He'll never fucking listen to this show. But he had been gone all summer, and we were doing the gassers and was clearly not in shape for it. And then we were all taking a knee listening to the coach talk at the end of practice. And I remember just him on his knee and him throwing up water out of his mouth, but just listening like the whole time with you couldn't tell, like if you just looked at him from the eyes to the nose, you couldn't tell, but the bottom of his mouth was just vomiting the same. It looked exactly the same as
chugged a bunch of water after.
Yeah, this was like projectile.
Yeah, and this was like that. It was just like water shooting out of his mouth like an SNL barf sketch.
We're supposed to like give a fuck about anything.
I guess it has to show that the water went into his internal organs and shit.
We gotta put this in the movie.
Yeah.
It's practical.
Jason can drown. He's been wet the whole movie. He's been living. He lives at the bottom of a lake or sleeps at the bottom.
Most of his life underwater.
Well, and it's also
too much
water on that one.
Jason is supposed to be so traumatized by water. Meanwhile, he managed to swim from the boat to Manhattan.
Right. Or walk along the bottom like Stone Mario, like because he's just heavy and dense enough that he can walk.
I thought they were going to at least show him under the raft or something, like clinging on, like Max Cady style. But
just on the back, kicking his feet, helping them get to the Manhattan.
Uncle Charles,
let's rate this.
Come out, wherever you are.
Just want to say before we rate it, the ending, we're like, holy shit, we made it. Everyone we know is dead except for the 2 of us. And then look down. Toby, the dog is just randomly sitting there. You forgot that the dog's in the movie. I don't remember him on the lifeboat. I don't remember him come. Oh, he's in New York because the mugger goes to shoot him.
Yes, and she
doesn't go to shoot him. Fires around. Yes. But Toby just goes.
Toby winds up in the life raft.
Yeah, Toby's back, and they're just like,
Toby's there whenever they go someplace, and that's it.
Very important for me to see, but I did feel bad for Ace the animal performer.
Yes.
I'm glad that Toby the character survived. So we're going to rate this son of a bitch classic action movie. We're here at the Classic Radio System on the Class Podcast for Classic Men. Even on Friday the 13th with a very special free episode for everybody out there, y'all. Gabrus, we're going to start with you on a scale of 0 to 5 decapitating punches. Where do you have the action horror movie masterpiece, Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan?
Ah, yes. A very special episode of Friday the 13th, free from behind the paywall on our Patreon podcast, a podcast where we cover movies from the 70s, 80s, and 90s of action cinema. We have themed months where we talk horror, sports, ninjas, all of that stuff. And yet today we're doing Friday the 13th for you, the national holiday, Friday the 13th, June 13th, 2025. I'm going to have to go with 5 decapitated punches.
Yeah, decapitating
punches.
That's it.
Decapitating punches.
Same for you, Raj. 0 to 5 decapitating punches.
Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Sort of a love letter to Vancouver. 5 decapitating punches.
New York is not a character in this movie. Could not find New York on the cast list. Stangarang, back to you, Orang. That's right. For people watching this for the first time, all 3 of us rate it every time.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 5 decapitating punches. They're all the same score. They're all the highest you can give it. Is it a little bit of a commentary on how ridiculous rating systems are?
Well,
Not
one can
really.
only tell. Yeah. You tell me. Letterboxd ads. Follow Action Boys Pod on Letterboxd. Who should we recommend this podcast to?
Are you in a bind because you don't know what to get your girlfriend who's a senior, who's afraid of water?
And when you went to the vintage store, you found out the Stephen King's pen was already bought. Now you're out of ideas.
So you went to go to a grocery store, put a quarter in that little fucking jewelry
Pray for the cold
machine.
I hope I get the Statue of Liberty.
I always wanted
the Sears Tower. We're not going to Chicago till college.
There's a gold digital watch in there. I always wanted that shit so bad.
Yeah, the stretchy.
Oh fuck, man, that would be amazing to get.
There's the Statue of Liberty on a necklace for where we're going.
I got it at the checkout at the supermarket. I got lucky and got this one.
Are you a new boat owner and curious about what safety equipment you require? Forget fire extinguishers. Remember, 3 axes, 2 shotguns, a chain, and a machete. 4 spear guns for hunting. Like, what are you hunting on?
Why do they need all that shit on the cruise? They need
It's
7
multiple
rifles.
fire axes, multiple rifles, and it's 7 high school kids going on a trip. You think the principals would be like, let's leave the skeet shooting shit at home today.
Don't forget the boxing equipment.
Skeeting enough in the room, if you know what I mean.
Are you late for your gang meeting where you listen to rap music where it says the same lyric over and over because you spent all this time putting a mohawk into your hair? How long do you think that guy's
what were the lyrics to that song? Because it was kind of funny. It was even like New York City, New York City, New York
walking through the city.
It was it's
walking through
like
the city.
And Jason just kicks the boombox.
Yeah. If the crack won't get you, the whores will. Like that was, I think, the line of it.
This guy that's listening to it has such a tight, perfect mohawk. It's like, how long are you spending on that hair?
It's also like completely off era. You know?
Do you know anybody who got an A+ on their biology homework showing a live map of the human anus to their class?
Let me turn around and show you where the poop comes out. Please, stop this.
Let me demonstrate
This is the
it.
last stop of digestion.
Spread them, boys.
Do you know any cruise liners that have made an absolute fortune by staffing their boats with 3 people? I mean, yeah, I'm sure this is I don't know, 50-ton ship. That's complicated. We can make do with 3 people.
There's fire in the engine room. Send the weird old landscaper down there to take a look at it.
I got a screwdriver.
Are you new to school and really want to be friends with Julius, so you're down to box him at midnight, even though he's maybe the only high school boxer? But anything to get yourself in the sauna. Recommend
Guess
this podcast.
I got to work on my combos, huh?
Yeah. I guess I got to shave my legs.
Guess I've been spending too much time eating combos and less time punching them. Well, let's go get the babes, huh?
He he shot protein shouldn't be this shocking.
Do you know anybody?
Our rewrite of it has got too much like biohacking shit in it.
Longevity science.
You're gonna need creatine to help with your dementia. Gotta punch his head off.
Cold water baths to help with Jason's trauma.
Yeah.
You know, he should actually be feeling happy.
Jason. Do you know anybody who broke into reality TV by filming their president or their principal fucking students?
Imagine you're fishing and you pull up a VHS tape and you're like, I wonder what this is. You put it in and you witness an adult man and a high school kid.
Do you turn it off?
Not at all. I go, wait a minute, where is the stomach?
I'm
Actually, the principal's all up in them.
First,
guts.
it's a girl just rocking out on a boat, and then it's like another girl showing off her body to an old man making out, and then it's like a guy shooting somebody in a hallway.
I hope that the video's also running when he gets rejected. Like it's watching a guy get rejected, turn, kill a guy by accident, then get set on fire. That poor dude's last 10 minutes of his life was fucking
I
awful.
saw like a complete map. The thing that they mapped this from was a very specific Faces of Death, to where it showed all the things you're describing.
Hey, I've always had the hots for you. I'm not going to date you, you limp dick loser. And you're like, oh no, I shot my own dad. Oh, I fell into a lava.
JJ.
Did you tell your friends, all right, we're gonna spar later, no weapons, and your friend go, don't worry, I'm not bringing anything. Except this gun.
Except this bump stock rifle. All right. Well, shit. I gotta catch this boat. I gotta get out of here. Make it back down to Valverde.
I gotta get my wallet. It went in the bottom of this barrel.
Oh shit! I've got a meeting. I gotta spar with Jason on a rooftop.
I got to get out of here before
but there's
Kevin
no way you can get
flushes
to
this place with
180,000.
toxic waste.
There's no way it gets to 180,000 pounds of pressure, right? No. Because my neck is loose.
I'm feeling real loose in the vertebrae department today.
Jason versus Mechaneck on the roof. Good luck, Jason.
You have just completed an episode of the Action Boys podcast.
Produced and edited by Kevin Bartelt.
Video recorded by Casey Donahue.
Video editing by Jack Bishop.
Social media by Krychek.
Theme music provided by Rob Pera.
And our merch is by Kinship Goods and can be found at merch.actionboyz.biz.
Free episodes of Action Boys can be found at free.actionboyz.biz.
And of course, you, dear listeners, wherever you are, stand up and take a bow.